calling the meeting to order. I had a brain freeze for a minute there. We will start the meeting with public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? Please come on up, state your name, and we have a couple, we give about 2 minutes, and the committee won't necessarily respond, but we'll, of course, take what you say under advisement.
Sure.
Thank you for being here.
Of course, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Doug Barnhill. This is my wife, Tanya Barnhill. We have many kids have gone through. Some are still in the system. We're thankful for that. Our son is a sophomore on the football team, got injured this year on the field. So our question is there a plan in place to replace the turf on that field?
You would think I planted, but I didn't know you were coming.
I feel
The gentleman behind you, when we talk about capital, is going to be talking about exactly that.
Okay.
Helping ahead. We're anticipating, it's early in the capital process, but $1 million for capital, which you would think is a ton. It's actually, when you think of 600,000 square feet, it doesn't go too far.
Right.
But given the fact that we've been talking about the need for the field since year one, that it's got a 10-year lifespan. We're going on to 14 now. Mm-hmm. So we're putting that on capital so it would be replaced this summer.
Okay.
The stadium field.
That's awesome.
That makes us very happy.
It makes us happy too. It's a shame that, and it's nobody's fault, but it's going to gobble off what Frank is going to talk about, 800,000 out of millions.
Yeah, we don't want anyone else.
No, and neither do we. But
it was a non-contact injury.
Yeah.
The coaches believe it was from the turf.
Well, fortunately, we all see, and everybody here knows, and so it sounds like it's on the plan or going to be on the plan.
Yep, 100%.
And I tried to open the agenda for today, but I couldn't open it.
Could have saved you the trip, but the odds of this happening were about 1 in a million.
Yeah, normally we wouldn't answer your question, but it's on our agenda anyway, so
That's glad it is.
Thank you.
it worked out.
Thank you for
And
advocating.
I hope your son is on the mend.
He has surgery next week.
Jeez.
No.
All right. Well,
Frank with the easiest lead-in.
yeah, what an excellent lead-in for Frank Rothwell to give us the operations update.
Go.
Hello. Hi.
Thanks, Jay. Is this the one controlling? Yeah, it's what you see on the screens.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity to give a quick update and to talk a little bit about our plans for capital. So I think I last met with you all in mid-September or so. Just want to go through the schools. I'm going to focus on the schools. Operations. I've shown you the slide before where you're sort of oversee many different departments, but primarily our function is to make sure that the schools are functioning as they were intended to function, they're safe, and they're cleaned. So just some things that we've been focused on since I last presented to you is leaf management, of course. I don't know if you've seen our guys out there, but they're pretty adamant about keeping the leaves under control in all the different school buildings. We're removing and storing nets, wind shades, and summer equipment. Some of these things we haven't actually gotten to, but we will get to in the next week or two. All of our vehicles have been inspected, lubricated, and the oil's been changed. We try to do that twice a year. Some of the machines are in the process of being inspected, lubricated, and then winterized. Winter equipment has all been inspected, lubed, and prepped for use. So that's our snow plows, snow blowers, and the like. We had a nice surprise visit from the Department of Labor. Did a surprise visit on us. We did very well but one of the things that they cited us on is a chemical we use in the summer to strip the wax off the floor is actually a corrosive chemical, and we're supposed to have eye wash stations. We didn't know that, so now that we do, we have to do corrective action. And we have to put an eye wash station in the custodial closets on each level of each building, which is no big deal. We have some experience because you'll see later, we bought eye wash stations for the science labs at the middle school this summer. and installed them in the fall. Some natural fields were top dressed. They were top dressed from the organic materials that our students have been throwing away at lunch. We purchased them back at a super discount. It was way cheaper than any top dressed soil from any other vendor. Super discount to buy that back as top dressing, and we top dressed the softball field. And when soccer ends, we have it more in our pile. We're going to do the baseball field. Our sprinklers, primarily at the high school, I think that's the only place we have them. They were blown out to prevent freezing. All of our heating units were inspected and lubricated. All of our rooftop units were inspected, and all boilers were inspected. So just some quick updates since, again, I last saw you. You're going to see a pattern here with roof leaks, but at North Grafton, we had 2 or 3 roof leaks in the hallway. Those were addressed. We completed that accessibility path. So all the playgrounds at North Grafton now are accessible to all the students at the school, which is we're pretty excited about that. And the concrete walkway in the front of the school, which had been repaired probably about 10 years ago. Those repairs were deteriorating, and we patched those all up in the front now. So there's no tripping hazards in the front. North Street, we had 2 internal, like when I say internal, what I mean is like a normal downspout was on the outside of a building. This is on the inside, it goes up above the drop ceiling and then down a pipe and out. We had 2 of those that were leaking horribly. We had them tested to make sure they weren't wrapped in asbestos. They were not. So we were able to get a roofing company out, working with one of our maintenance guys, and they cut out the elbows and replace those, and they're not leaking presently, which is really exciting because they've been leaking for a long time. And thanks to the North Street PTG, we have a new bike rack installed in the front. GMS, we're working with Trane to try to close out the HVAC install. It's almost done. They have a few more small things to install on the rooftop units, and it's actually been functioning pretty well. I don't want to jinx it, for several weeks, almost maybe a little bit over a month, because over the summer we had a lot of struggles with a lot of those different units, but they've all been upgraded, the software, etc. You said I had an hour, right? The roofing design was approved by town meeting, as you know, and you all approved it as well. That needs to go out to bid, so we're working on that. Numerous roof leaks at GMS have been patched, as well as the electrical and the plumbing in the science classrooms were all upgraded. At GHS, I'm going to come back to the yellow. I'm just going to skip that for a second. Stadium lights are going out to bid in early December. It was supposed to go out next week, but it's actually going to be postponed a week. We might save a few dollars. It's a long story, but those are going to change to LED. Same company, different fixture. There were 22 roof leaks at the high school, and every one was addressed. The auditorium lights, we brought in a couple of companies to look at those lights, and we're going to take bids for the summer. We've tried twice now to rent our own stuff, take the seats out, and get a boom in there. We can't do it. We really tried. Our team is pretty smart, and we can't do it. So we're going to just have to hire a professional company to do it. The hoop motors, the basketball hoops, the motors froze when they were half down, half up, which is horrible. We had the company over there today, and they're supposed to come back out Friday and finish that job. And the wrestling mat also froze, but we don't have a wrestling team that we host. So the expense to fix that I felt too high. So we are just going to remove that whole crane altogether, which is still an expense, but it's a lot cheaper than trying to replace it. The gym floor before winter sports start will be professionally cleaned and refinished. And the exterior windows, they literally have fur on them. All the north-facing windows that face Lake Ripple, it's embarrassing. We've tried to clean it ourselves. We've used a power washer and a lift and got up as high as we could. We're having those professionally cleaned, and we're going to pay for that because so many different groups rent our school. We're going to pay for that out of use, so it's not going to ding our budget. Millbury Street, we worked with the DPW. They were very generous with their equipment and time and a couple of guys to dig a French drain out in front because it used to puddle and the kids would freeze and they'd slip on the sidewalk. So, and then fill it with their stone. DPW had some crushed stone. So that should be good. Do I have the right slide? No. Thank you, Jay, for letting me in. And I didn't go back to the yellow. The gym lights changed to LED. If you notice, I put that in the capital budget. But obviously, we're always working, getting different quotes and everything. And we may be able to do that at no cost to us or very low cost and get it done in December, which would be preferred, I think, for our teams because it's very dim in that. We've talked about it. I've talked about it in the gymnasium. So those, we've never had good control over those fluorescents. These will just be on half, on full, or off. And they're off motion detectors. So I'm jumping around. The roof was leaking at Millbury Street. It was where the metal roof met the brick. We had that caulked. That seems to have helped significantly. And then at South Grafton, there were several roof leaks, and we basically have to re-shingle at least this section. And we still have some money left over from last year's capital to try to address that. Okay. Transitioning to capital. The turf field.
Sharon.
So the turf field, as Dr. Cummins stole a little bit of my thunder, has a 10-year lifespan. Next year will be year 14. It has many tears that we address every summer, and it's expensive. It's very expensive. If you notice, if you walk the field, you'll see these patches. I don't know how well you can see them on the screen. Some of them were patched in years past with different colors. They're not even the right colors. It messes up the referees. But what you do is you cut it out neatly. You suck out the granular rubber, and then you apply a specific glue and you glue it back in. But the areas of most wear in the center of the field, there are issues. The other issue is the bounciness of it. They take it looks like a miniature shot put, and they drop it, and it's supposed to bounce a certain
Height.
so many inches up high, and it doesn't bounce very much at all. We maintain that field. We spend a lot of time on it with our equipment. We have a brush that brushes it and kind of spreads out the granular rubber. We add granular rubber throughout the season because if you have kids that play on that field, I'm sure some of our field is in your home because it gets tracked everywhere. But it just is in need for repair, as Dr. Cummins said, and it's a lot of money. $750,000 is the estimate that we received. Last year, I asked for $200,000 in roof repair, but we're going to go through that $200,000 this year, no problem. Trying to, just keep our roofs from leaking. Next year, I would ask for $105,000, unless I'm able to do that gym thing in December. If I'm able to do the gym thing in December, then I would just add this $45,000 to the roofs. And something else that really came up this year that's been a challenge is we've had a lot of HVAC issues with different units kind of going out. They're no longer fixable. A lot of our HVAC is on software, and the software's expired. They just don't update it, so you kind of have to replace it. And the library at North Street is an example. Those 2 units in there, they both need to be replaced. The library at Millbury, the computer lab at Millbury Street, that had to be taken apart and completely rebuilt. It was a lot of money. So we just would like to put in capital that every year for a school system this size, we could very easily use $100,000 for unexpected HVAC issues, despite our best efforts to be on top of it. And that's it. Any questions?
I just wanted to mention, in typical years, that the amount ranges, but we're usually between $500,000 and $600,000 in terms of what the school is allotted for capital. This year, Evan going back to what I stated earlier, expects about $1 million for the schools, which is great. But typically, like we can't, we have to spend all of our capital money, leaving zero for anything else, and find another $200,000. So this provides that opportunity to address the field that we've been talking about for a long time.
Thank you, Frank. That was extremely comprehensive. You got a lot done the first few months of the year.
Thanks.
Anyone have any questions?
Frank, what were you speaking about with the lights in the gym? Did you just say that you could get them? Back it up.
So there's a rebate.
Yeah.
There's a rebate. The cost would be significantly less, and then the National Grid has this. I have to remember the name of it, and I apologize. But essentially, you fold it into your payment, your regular payment, so it doesn't have to come out of your operational, and your savings are great enough. I need to get the numbers from the company, but the savings may be great enough to cover the cost of the installation.
Okay.
So you would continue say that I'm just making numbers.
Right.
I don't pay the bills. It finance us, right? But let's say it's $500 every month. Well, with savings, maybe it goes to $250.
Yeah.
But we would continue for 3 years to pay $500. We would pay that same electric bill, and that extra $250 would apply to the cost of installing the lights.
Okay. Now, my other question is, so you have 3 lighting things happening at GHS. Are they going out for 3 separate bids, or are we going to bid that as one single?
3 separate bids.
Why is that?
Because they're very different systems. The lights, very particular company that will go on a boom and install stadium lights. Same thing with the indoor booms. Same thing. Like they're specialized companies. And what's the third thing?
Well, the gym.
The gym. Yeah, I'm talking about the same thing.
The gym, the auditorium.
But all three.
Oh, the auditorium and the gym. So far, I've only asked for 1 bid on the auditorium, but I have to get 2 more bids.
Yeah. Okay. She did.
Looking for the best price.
Yeah. No, I know. I just didn't know why they weren't being free. But that.
Yeah, bundled.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Anyone else? The field, is it a replacement or it's a total replacement?
So they rip it out.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it without damaging the track. And the track's getting a little long in the tooth as well. But I'm sure they know what they're doing. They rip it out. They vacuum out all that crumb, I believe is what it's called, rubber crumb. And then the new turf fields now, that was kind of state of the art when they put it in. But and I don't want to bore you to tears, but the grass blades, the plastic grass blades, are supposed to stand erect in the crumb piles in between. Okay. And it keeps it bouncy. But they've just been run over so much that they're flat. So when you put the crumb on it, it just sort of sits on top and doesn't really get in there, and it's not as bouncy. So the new ones now, they've learned to put a rubber pad underneath it, and then they do a very similar system on top. Something that we'll have to consider is there's also like a more environmental friendly. I think Millbury just put a coconut husk field in where it's just, I don't know how they get coconut husks and shred them up, but they shred them up and it'll break down in the environment.
Oh, kind of cool.
If it gets dragged into your yard.
And sort of on another note, $100,000 for all these roof leaks, like we work. No, that's what I'm saying. Is it enough?
It's not enough.
Oh,
Well, we have. I guess we have to make it work, right?
I think the roof leaks have been going on for so long that people kind of used to them, and like we've had to come up with a spreadsheet for every school that we want to know if you come in and your tiles are stained or there's water on your floor. Like we want to know because we want to get them out there and at least attempt to fix it. There's one in the library at North Street that will require. It's not actually the library roof at North Street is relatively new, but next to the library is this the elevator shaft, and they would have to tear out the whole elevator shaft because it starts there and kind of goes underneath and drags across and then leaks into the library. So at least we know now. Like that was something that was challenging to figure out.
So, thank you, Frank. Great work as always to you and your team. My question is, we have 2 fields, correct? That means, so is the next field, is that on the docket for the following year?
No. Frank talked about how much I think he talked about how much even the technology obviously has changed with fields.
Yep.
We witnessed that in just a 1-year span. The first field that was installed, even when we were just barely starting to use it, before I started, was at the stadium field. Just a year and a half later, they did the second field, and it's radically different.
It's better.
It's so much better. Because it's still going to need, it's not
Yeah.
utilized as much. Obviously, it doesn't have the lights. That's not our
Right.
primary field. But that, without a doubt, that is coming. The reality is, not only will we most likely not get $1 million in capital, like there's definitely a cost to doing it. Not just the cost of $750,000, but that leaves us $250,000 to cover the district. Like, we could not absorb that for 2 years.
No, I know. I guess my question should have been, is there a plan for, is that on the docket?
I mean, it's been on our
It is
list.
in
Right.
much better shape.
Okay. It's not a
But it's going, the day it's going to come.
Yeah,
People are going to do the same thing. They're going
exactly.
to say, you just got that new turf field. I can't believe it. They take tremendous care of it. But that costs coming. And the hard part is with giving more, not excuses, but just trying to be real about it. We've got 6 roofs that
Yep.
pretty horrible. We are going to need an override vote eventually, and we're going to need a second turf field. That's
Okay. So I'm thinking, I think I feel like we've been talking about that field for a very long time here, but I don't think people listen to us because guess we're not that interesting. So I want to stop, like the messaging has to stop with the high school being we got to figure that out. Like the new and all of those comments, like Grafton is so used to we got 14 years out of a 10-year thing. Well, that's not really okay when people are getting hurt and we're, doing things like that. So that's not you, Frank. That's just, I just am constantly thinking about that. Like, it's exhausting. Like, I don't know how, it's exhausting.
In that same vein, though, I do a trip with friends every fall. I go to a different big time
No, thank
college football
the invite.
place, right? And this last year we went to LSU, and I don't know if this is true, but I was talking to I like to talk to strangers. It's kind of a thing. And I said, this field, that's grass. Our seats weren't that great. I'm like, that's a grass field. It's in cherry condition. It's so perfect. And they said the only thing they do on that field is play their 6 home games. They don't practice on that field.
Yeah.
The band doesn't practice on that field.
Yeah.
Cross isn't on that field.
Town.
It's that giant stadium at LSU, and they play 6 home games a year.
Sure.
And all I could think about is our field, where Shauna, who does the bulk of the facility rentals and stuff, does everything she can to coordinate, town leagues and the middle school wants one game under the lights and football, lacrosse, field hockey, and does everything she can to get that field used. And it's used all the time.
Yep. Yeah.
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 All the time.
Which,
By a lot of different groups beyond just the high school.
yeah, no, I know. And that's going to come back.
Glad we're
to
doing
what we're going to talk about when we talk about fees and the entitlement. Maybe things we have to start to discuss about when we first built the high school, that was, it's a community thing. And now kind of okay, but what do we want to do? And that, again, not on you, Frank. I'm just thinking out loud and saying this so one of us remembered. One of us will remember to bring it up. So we need to think about it and changing the messaging, unfortunately, because I love that people use our schools are the heart of the community, of course.
Right.
Everybody chips in, but, we see the effects. So anyway, great work.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Phenomenal. You must be awesome to go to football games with. You're talking about the field. So
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of nerded out on it.
love that for you and your friends.
Have a nice evening.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Bart Hillis.
All right. Now that we've talked about budget, let's talk about budget.
Yeah, I don't have too much on the budget tonight. Kathleen provided you with a summary and a spreadsheet, really just a brief overview snapshot of where we stood as of at least last week with the developing FY27 budget. We're expecting around a 6.5% increase, but that will be finalized soon. The FY27 book, our goal is to have that to the school committee on or by December 3rd. That will obviously have all the details, backup materials, all that good stuff. So that on the 9th, most of that meeting, or a big chunk of that meeting, will be dedicated to the FY27 budget. The forecast is going to be completed by November 20th. Kathleen's finishing that up now. It will be submitted to the town, merged with their numbers, and that will give us the town's 5-year forecast. Once that's together, maybe as early as Monday or Tuesday of next week, Kathleen and I will meet with Evan and Mary, take a look at that, and make sure it looks correct to us. And that will obviously give us a sense of the expected deficit for FY27 and the 4 following years as well.
And nothing really new. I mean, it's
Nope,
a lot of the tuition and transportation costs are driving a lot of
The same narrative
Yeah.
that we've been giving is going to hold true. No
Okay.
question about it. There's been talk about less state funding. I don't know if you guys heard that at MASC. There's been a talk about it, but I really haven't seen anything that would worry me a great deal yet.
Could we have any other comments, Christy?
Dr. Cummings, 2 weeks ago, you and I had a discrepancy on the circuit breaker, and you said that you'd get back to us on what that was.
Yes, that is in reference to the estimate for circuit breaker use that Kathleen put together. Sure enough, she did make an error. She had listed or put our expected, it was an estimate, but really just a guess, if you will, that we'd be about a little over $64,000 in the negative with circuit breaker. And it should instead of negative 64089, it should have been plus 64089. So
Which will 100%
she-
gobbled up.
well, we actually had a move-in yesterday, so that estimate is out the window. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. I talked to Kathleen, and
And then this evening, you're not, I guess, like prepared to speak on any of these cost centers.
nope.
Okay.
Okay. So MASC update, I think both for Rebecca and Laura have updates. So I think Rebecca first.
Yeah, you go. All right. So I was our representative at the delegate meeting. Is that what it's called? Delegate meeting. And we discussed first the all the resolutions that were coming up to be renewed, which we had discussed at our last meeting. We all have voted to approve all of those. They passed with flying colors, which was amazing. And then I got to present on our resolution for removing BMI. It was great. It also passed almost unanimously, only one nay, which was amazing. It was kind of funny. I hope it's okay to say this because I don't know what town it was. So I'm not calling anyone out, but the representative that they had elected to come forward to be their representative, he got up before the vote and said, I just want to let you know that I strongly support this, but my school committee voted not to, so I have to vote no. And so he was the only no, and everyone kind of giggled when he put himself out there saying that. So it was awesome. It felt really good, and some people had some wonderful things to say about how supportive they were. So it was great.
Awesome.
What she's neglecting to say is she did a presentation and she did an amazing job. And she gave out bullets about equity, about patriarchy, about but time and money. That out money, district money. Really hit on a lot of newer audiences. Hit on a lot of the. So it's exciting, and hopefully it'll move forward as something that they will advocate for, and who knows, but really made a big difference. And Becca did a great job on presenting us, and it was nice to see Grafton kind of just And we're the only ones. We're the only ones that submitted a resolution this year, which is pretty cool. Enough. And it was like a half-hour meeting. It was really also amazing. It was amazing. So, good job. Yeah. So I did it. She did a wonderful job, and really, I was very proud. Even though I didn't have a lot to do with it. But what I wanted to talk about is very quickly, because just flying through our agenda, and I don't want to talk too long with. I was very grateful to get to go to MASC and felt lucky that I could take the time off of work and away from my family. And I went to some really beneficial sessions, and I'm excited and full of knowledge to share now with you guys. Not right now, but just hopefully moving forward on a few things. First one I went to was how to pass an override. So that was a really good session. Our own former member of our finance director, Dan Gale, presented. He did give a couple shout outs to Grafton. I was in the back kind of like rolling my eyes a bit because he stole some of our ideas with our former member, Dr. Maureen Cohen. So we high-fived a bit. But it was to Belchertown and Hudson, two very different. One actually did it in 6 weeks. I do have the slides from there, which I will share. I'll put them all. I guess can put them in the drive. I mean, they're all public. There's no reason why I can't share any of this. It was a good reminder of kind of what we need to do, and they had good thoughts. So I appreciated that. I also went to how to communicate a crisis. Twofold. One, my very good friend, Dr. Cohen, was presenting. Second, obviously, communications was my passion. And I do walk away sometimes feeling very proud and happy to be a Grafton school committee member. Knock on wood, some of the things that these districts have had to deal with, I feel very fortunate that we have not. I also walk away with new love and respect for all of us and our superintendent, because it's a wide range out there. I got to meet, and we're very lucky, in case we don't know that. But it was interesting. They worked a lot with a public relations firm, which is certainly not, I don't believe, in our budget, although they did try to sell me and gave us a good discount. But even I wouldn't advocate for that. But really good to think about sometimes communicating and how you communicate a crisis, which I think, we've all been working closely with our superintendent and just kind of guiding, because that's two of our passions. I went to an AI one that was presented by our former commissioner, Jeff Wiley, and he was amazing. Like, I guess, it was a hard job, and he was commissioner during COVID, so he wasn't like, we didn't love him. He was great. We're going to discuss AI in our next subcommittee meeting, but I kind of already messaged Jay and Christy with thoughts that came out of it. That's a really interesting one. Everybody is kind of learning. One of the things that just to take away on us was just, we have an opportunity to do this differently than we did social media, which I think, and I'll say, as a society, we've really screwed that up. I'm concerned about AI because as a society, we seem to never learn from our mistakes. Hopefully we can do better with AI, but they did talk about a lot of the creative ways that students and teachers can use AI to help, and just to think about different ways to do it. And of course, we talked a lot about the harmful things as well. They gave some alarming statistic that 70% of students have an AI chat companion. I tested that theory with one student, and he told me that I was being fear-mongered and didn't even know what it was. But that was a small sample. But that seemed really 70% have their own companion, which is different than an AI chat. This was their friend that they just talk to all the time, which I know is a concern. 70% seemed high. I'm just telling you what the ex-commish told me. What else? That's enough. Oh, and then I went to a couple, but the other one that I'm very passionate about, aren't you all lucky, is I went to an onboarding session. And I went to that one as well, which was a lot of talk about governance and onboarding. And I walked away feeling very sad about myself as somebody who's been on this committee for so long that we really had very little onboarding for new members. So to all of you, I apologize. I would love for us to think about doing it differently. Jay has done a great job kind of just doing the meeting, but we talked about how it should be the chair. I have a step-by-step list. This was from a tech school. They had a lot of meetings. I don't know. We could adapt to what we want, but I don't know how, like, if we want to just get it on an agenda, future agenda, when we have a little bit of time, it's not an urgent thing, but we have kind of like what we should think about doing, what our members should get. And also they recommended, like, don't send them to charting the course by themselves. Like, members go with them. All those things, like, I never thought of. So, again, no, I humbly apologize that I think we could do better for our future members, and all of us can maybe just share our experiences. I think I just did what I was told to me, and we could do better for sure, because it's daunting. So I was lucky. I felt very excited to get that. I'm going to throw those slides in. It's nothing that we don't already know. I was very excited to raise my hand to say that we have, like, operating principles. I felt that I pretended we had them because they and yeah, it was great. So I'm, again, very lucky. I also met some wonderful people from our sister district, Sutton, and they were thinking we could do some workshops together because they're facing the same thing. So if we get MASC in, so maybe we could do some partnering. Their superintendent is a Grafton resident, and have kids in our district, so they're watching Hello, and they watch and tune into us, and they have a lot of the same, although they're much smaller, obviously have a lot of the same issues. People all around the Commonwealth are obviously feeling the same things we are. Everybody's concerned about budget. Many people are concerned about ICE. People are concerned about every rural cities, suburbs, like, everybody's concerned. We talked a little bit, obviously, about, Prop 2 is always coming up about what could be changed. People are struggling and worried, but I always walk away, and especially this year, feeling kind of rejuvenated and proud of Massachusetts and how lucky we all are to have such amazing people in our schools. And I felt very proud of Grafton, too, for what we were able to accomplish in our district. So it was a really good conference. And it was fun to be had as well. That's it.
Okay. Great. The lady in a newspaper.
So we don't have too much this week. We have Thanksgiving break coming up on next Wednesday, so I'm going to change something. And just kind of summarizing, Stuco hosted a really great fall conference for their MASC, so Massachusetts Student Council, not school committee. And they hosted 700 people at GHS with students participating in leadership workshops. So that was it.
That looks cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, I thought. Did they comment on the furry windows? Sorry.
No, it was too dark out. No, that's true. Sorry. Don't watch it. We could have some. Thank you, guys. Good.
Have a good
Happy to see you. Oh, yeah. Break. All right. Superintendent report.
All right. Tonight I'm going to talk about a potential land purchase. There's a 3-acre parcel of land for sale on North Street. The property abuts North Street Elementary School. You may have seen the sign driving on North Street. I provided a map in the book for you. This piqued my interest. It was for sale a few years ago, and I regretted that we didn't take a look at it. And then it went off the market, and it's back on. So I brought up the topic to Evan Broussard, the town administrator, and he was already all over it and thought it was of great interest. I haven't been involved in land purchase in my 15 years here, but he has, not only here, but in his previous position, purchased land. My understanding, I'm paraphrasing here, but the rule of thumb for town administrators is anytime you can find usable land that abuts a school, the town is wise to at least take a look at it for future use. It doesn't come up that often. If you think about our different schools, we don't have lots of options to purchase land, but this one exists now. Potential, when we both looked at it from kind of different lenses. He was thinking more down the road, future school expansion might be in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But the way the footprint of that site is now, if you've been there, you've seen the hill in the back makes adding on more than even modular was challenging, but to have a significant expansion would be really difficult as it stands now. I was thinking about a second entrance or exit, having a road that would lead out, that would help relieve some of the ridiculous, well, you could do both.
Yeah.
It's all, future cost, and it would have expense, but the ideal in my mind, and I say this with the caveat that if we do move forward, I'd reach out to a traffic expert, like who we used to help us with the high school, and take a look at it and tell us, because I think a second road would be the greatest thing ever. He could come out and quickly, he does it for a living, and say, nope, that's just going to cause more of a problem. But creating, if we were, it's basically when you go into North Street Elementary on that left-hand side of the woods, if you created parking there, it's fairly level. You could definitely do it. The ideal would be you create parking there and on that, where in the southeast portion of that property is where we have the playground, and it's not accessible. That's the big problem with that playground, especially if the weather's not fantastic. So we'd love to, but we can't move the playground. We keep the stuff but physically move it to the top of that hill. The problem is now we have limited parking there. So you move the playground and put a fence in, that's great, but we're in a worse spot with parking and the movement of buses, et cetera. So potentially it could be a great thing. Evan and I met with the realtor maybe a week ago, just to express just an interest from the two of us. Evan ran through the process, like how it would play out with the realtor. Basically, with that process, Evan was, I believe, he's slated to speak with the select board about potentially pursuing a purchase and sale agreement for that property. If they have interest in that, so that's step one. If there is interest, then we have the property assessed, and the town can't pay anything more than whatever that assessed value is. And if still for it after all of that, the select board could, if they still want to pursue it, would most likely put it on the May town meeting. Like you may have seen, that there was a piece of property purchased at the last town meeting. So same basic process. So that's how it stands. It's nothing but interest right now, and it might be dead in the water after tonight. We'll see what select board thinks. But Evan was, even before I said anything, was very interested in pursuing it. And I can take maybe any questions you have. I don't know much more than what I shared. I'll try it.
I don't have a question. It's more, it's right. When do we get an opportunity to buy abutting land? It would seem foolish not to. Obviously, it's not the greatest financial climate for us to be buying a ton of stuff, but our town's only growing. So I feel like the way Evan's thinking about it makes sense. The way you're thinking about it makes sense. They both seem like this is a no-brainer to at least pursue. So.
Dr. Cummins, so I see, and this could be wrong. So online, they're asking $400,000 for that piece of land.
I thought it was $450.
Okay, well, how many needs left?
But
It could be.
It could be.
So you said a few years ago it was for sale, and then it went off the market. Did it sell a few years ago, or did they take it off the market?
They took it off the market.
Do you know why?
I have no idea why. And it might have been cut up differently back then. We never even looked at it. I just didn't know enough to really pursue it, to be quite frank. But I think it's the same basic plot, the same seller. They just didn't move forward.
Okay. Future agenda.
So,
Steve, maybe we need to add onboarding discussions. The agenda.
We have like a small night one that we were like, as far as the top first, I guess.
Five. Check the next one.
Poor Stella, she's already,
I know.
you know.
Lost.
No, I mean, you were sending me like, you know, starting in May, so I'm glad I pushed it off to like, you know, at least the smaller is going to go to turning the course with you. So I'm already ready, but that's plan too bad. But it was just like, there are people, some people had been there like they raised, like they said, like, how new are you? Like, and some people had been like over a year and it was their first time going. So
Yeah.
by law, you're supposed to go by, but they actually said there's no charting the course place that would not get you, but it's like a notes on the wall that you're supposed to go. But it was like good to have like at least a few meetings underneath. So
I think so. So you kind of have a frame of reference.
yeah. So maybe I'll work new members if they have any to like. It's weird to have them at least go far. It's like, you know, some people have November elections that start in January. We have like May, and then next week you're like, hey, here I am. I just took my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. There's not a lot of time. And that depends like where it is in the state, you know. It's like you're like, you know, very happy.
Yeah. Can be very far. All right. So maybe let's look. Yeah.
Take a look. You're at 24. Share my head.
Okay.
Let me know.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
while we're speaking of the agenda, what is happening in regards to the meeting with Select Board?
Yeah. Andy and I just have been communicating on that. It's going to be in probably December.
Okay, is it going to be after Dr. Cummings presents the budget to the school committee?
That is what I'm trying to determine. I would like it to be because I would like to see the budget, but
Right.
we'll have it in, and we'll have access to it beforehand if it has to happen. I know he was shooting for early December, like really early December. So Andy, so I don't know, but we have to agree.
Not that my 2 cents really, but I personally, I think as a board, we should see the budget.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's certainly my feeling.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe you can use that as just that your board really recommends. So it's not just you.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't like if ever he showed us the budget before he saw it, right?
Right. I
just think it's standard practice.
For us to be asking Dr. Cummings questions with the select board, that like it's just too much.
Yes.
So if we can,
Yep.
we need to understand it.
right,
first.
right.
Yeah. Get our questions out of the way.
So I
agree. So it's a more productive.
Right.
Yep.
December's tricky. That's always.
This December is so tricky.
But that's what happens.
Right. I mean, I'd even be okay if you guys were okay with us having our own meeting on December 2nd and then doing that joint one on the 9th. Like if that was the
Perhaps.
Like an early meeting.
Like flip
like
I
flip
see
it,
what you're saying.
flip it.
like we would move
Oh, move the second.
instead of on the 9th, have our meeting on the 2nd, then you've got to move everybody. Well,
No, just flip our meeting.
well, you've got to move the technology presentation. Like you're telling them, oh, you're coming a week earlier than we said, and you know, things like that. So that I take it under advisement, but I see where you're going.
Or the 16th, the following week after, we don't have a meeting.
Right. I don't
Normally would have.
I don't disagree that we should have the opportunity to take into the budget before talking about it in an open forum with others. So, okay. Yeah, of course. This, yeah. Civic analysis here. Oh, I read discussion. Yeah, God, I feel like the year's really flying by here. All right. Anybody have anything else on agenda?
No, I would like to just thank you for changing up the agenda to do the path of a student.
Thanks, Dr. Cummings and all of the principals.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings.
It's a pleasure.
Dr. Cummings, I really appreciate it.
Going to be great.
I really appreciate it, Dr. Cummings.
Did we put the onboarding somewhere?
We did not decide. Okay. We did.
All right. Just checking.
We'll have to think about it.
Yeah. Contemplate. All right. That's
Because it's really us. We don't have to invite someone, though we can kind of, as we're preparing a meeting, say, take away, let's add it here.
Yeah, that's fair.
We do have minutes to approve. I'll take a motion on that.
Madam Chair, I move that the committee approve the minutes for November 4th, 2025 as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any additional comment, question? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Hey, stop very much. There is no warrant, so there is nothing to ask or any questions on the warrant. We don't have policy tonight.
Could I just give an update on policy just quickly? That we have heard back from MASC and all of our policies are now that we had approved are in their book. We're just waiting on they had like a couple of errors on their end as far as linking, so I informed them of that. And then Laura and I and Dr. Cummings are having a policy subcommittee meeting this Thursday just to final up everything else, and then hopefully this will be a once a year thing. So we're hoping for cool.
I did see Amory and at MAFC, and she said she's working hard. She's only one person.
I
I'm going to try her cap reach. We call her up to it.
nice. All right.
I did
I-
not.
You did not.
You lie. I didn't mean to. I never saw her outside of her little booty.
God, it's terrible.
No, car.
All right. So we do not have correspondence. We do not need executive session. So I am pleased to tell you all that we are ready to adjourn at 7:50 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Good night, Grafton.
Good night.